So this one is going to be barley risotto. Now, okay, I hear great intakes of breath. Barley, it's got gluten. Yes, it has got gluten. But for once, I'm actually cooking dinner for nobody with a gluten allergy. Lots of people with dairy, but no gluten. So we're going to have a barley risotto, but you could equally well make it with rice, or you could make it with quinoa, so don't panic, it's all right. What am I going to put in it? Well, my cooking is all a little bit haphazard because I never really know what I'm going to do until I actually do it. So I tend to look in the fridge, see what's there, and work from there. So I think we're going to use some anchovy fillets because I just love using anchovies as a base for anything. You get lovely saltiness without getting salty. You get nice flavour. Quite honestly, you never even notice that they're there. So we're going to have some anchovy fillets, just a little pot like that. I'm doing this for, we think we're going to have about 20 people. So this is going to be a large amount, not what you're going to want to cook, but in the recipe that'll come with it, I will reduce it down to sensible proportions. So for starters, I'm going to use one little tin of anchovies, which is I think 7 grams, but it's the kind of standard tin that you would get. Right, okay, so now we're going to use an onion, nice big fat onion, some nice big fat garlic cloves, and some red peppers, the Romero red peppers. Actually, I've got quite a lot of them here. They're really, I like them, they're really lovely, and they're nice and bright and jolly, and they're going to, this is Christmas dinner after all, so it needs to be jolly. Then we're going to have some Jerusalem artichokes. They're going to go in later though, and they're going to give crunch as well as a really yummy flavour. And finally, for some more brightness and jolliness, I'm going to use some of this lovely rainbow chard because I can chop up all the stems and get beautiful colour, and then I can get the green out of the leaves as well. I'm just thinking that maybe some oregano would be nice in this. Don't know why, but I just think it would be. So I'm going to put a good shake. Now let me give you a little tip that I got from my good friend Anna Del Conte. If you don't want your onions to burn, add a pinch of salt while they're cooking. I'm using, as you can see, a kind of nice big coarse sea salt. Just chuck it in there, and amazing, I don't know why this happens, but anyhow it works. Here we go with the Romero peppers, oh no, they're Romano peppers, sorry, they're not Romero peppers I'm talking about. Let's start with 2 of them. Okay, so now this is the moment when you go off and have a cup of tea, or go and make the next course, or something or other, because actually that's going to need to stew away there, probably for 10-15 minutes, because I want all the vegetables to be really nice and soft before we put the barley in. If you're cooking for people with allergies, just check your allergies, because unusual in this country, but celery is one of the 14 major allergens, celery and celeriac. And we all happily go off and use stock. Nearly all commercial stocks have got celery in them, so you need to be really careful. And meanwhile, I'm going to go back to my Jerusalem artichokes. Now, I haven't peeled these, because quite honestly, you peel a Jerusalem artichoke, by the time you get all that off, you've got no artichoke left. And they have been very well scrubbed, and any bit that looks dodgy, I will actually take off. So I'm going to add these now, along with the barley, and they can just cook in with the barley. Our barley risotto is just about ready to have its chard added. There's my chard. Leave all the stalks on. I'm going to use a long knife, and I'm just going to slice it downwards because I'd like little bits. I don't want massive, great long bits of leaf. And then just slice it across. Hopefully the stalks will actually stay slightly crunchy. That's what I'd really like them to do. And the leaf will wilt, and so we will end up with colour and texture. What more can you ask of a risotto? Well, probably quite a lot, but this one I think will be fine. Okay, I'm going to go for broke with the risottos, partly because I need some hob space. So I'm going to tip him in there. The barley will actually absorb any of the extra juice that it needs to overnight. Now, back at the ranch, the venison. For now, let's get just started on these bits. I'm just literally going to fry the torpedo onions when I have peeled them in some coconut oil. Not olive oil this time. I want to use coconut oil. Obviously, this is all going to be dairy free, so I wouldn't be using butter, whereas somebody else might have been. And then this is our big pot of meat. I'm just going to take some of the meat out and put it straight in so as it does a little bit of searing. Now meanwhile, there's the first lot of venison. I think we can go a bit more. Was that half? I don't think I've got half in there yet, have I? So one more spoonful. Now all I'm going to put in with the venison at the moment is the marinating juices. I'm going to put some stock because I got some bones. When I got the venison from the butcher, he gave me some bones. So I made some stock last night from the venison bones and the cranberries. That's all I'm going to put in for now. Because I always think I'm not going to have enough food, I always do have far too much food, but I always think I'm not going to have enough. Just thought I might do an extra dish. So, this is easy last minute dish. I find doing kind of beanie salads are a wonderful way of providing extra food if you think you're not going to have enough. But they're also very quick and very last minute. So I've used butter beans. I'm going to do butter beans, smoked mackerel, probably with some black olives and lots of chopped spring onions, partly because they give crunch and partly because they give flavour. Butter beans, I've used 3 tins, so that's cheating really. I know I should have cooked them beforehand, but I didn't think of it. If you want to get the best flavour out of the butter beans, tip them with their juice out of the tin into a saucepan and just heat them up. I've already done it with these. Just heat them up, drain them, put them into your dish and dress them. I've just dressed them salt, pepper, oil and some lemon juice. Because once the beans are warm, they absorb the flavours much better than if they're cold. So this is dead simple, this is just amalgamation. So we've got our butter beans here, here's some smoked mackerel fillets, if I can ever retrieve them out of these horrid plastic containers. Here we go. I love smoked mackerel. I mean, of course, it's frightfully high in omega-3, so terribly good for you. But it's also lots of flavour, very last minute, you don't have to do anything to it. So it's the ideal lazy cook's fish. And all I do, is just peel off the skin, which comes off very simply, oops, and just break it up in your fingers into the dish. Right, now I've got 3 smoked mackerel fillets in there at the moment. I think that's plenty. I got some black olives. And actually these ones I got up the road, which are all kind of spiced, which is rather nice. I'm going to put, I'm not even going to break them up, I'm just going to put them in whole. And I'm going to put a couple of handfuls of black olives in. So let's just chop up the spring onions and see how we go. I love spring onions, could eat them forever. They're not too oniony if you don't want things to be too oniony, but on the other hand they have loads of flavour and loads of crunch. And look pretty, so I mean, what more can you ask of a vegetable, really? I think that's rather good. So for an instant salad, last minute instant salad, make sure that your spring onions are all broken up. I think that's pretty good, don't you? How long did that take? 2 minutes? Right, so here we are, dinner ready to be eaten. In front of me we have the carrots, which actually I do think look rather splendid. The only thing I did apart from just stewing them as you saw was to add some lemon juice at the end, seasoning and lemon juice at the end. So I think they look rather good. So this was our last minute dish, the 2 minutes to make dish, butter beans, black olives, smoked mackerel and just chopped spring onions. Looks nice, doesn't it? Tastes delicious, I might tell you. And that was dead easy. Now here's the barley risotto. This was the one we made last night. It's been allowed just to sit in the larder overnight, so it's absorbed all the flavours and it's actually absorbed all the extra liquid. So as you can see, very pretty, nice red peppers everywhere. Actually tastes delicious. I wish you could taste it. So all of those, and then of course our huge big pot of venison stew, which you saw earlier. And then we go on upstairs to try out all the mince pies and the Christmas puddings and all the other goodies, but we didn't make those. Those are all part of our taste test.
The slices, you'd have thought they were the same thing, but actually they're not. It's quite a lot better.